You'd think writing a spoiler-free review would be a snap, but without an Infinity Gauntlet, it's actually kinda hard. Hey everybody, welcome to Mainely Movies. This is my completely spoiler-free review of the 22nd entry into the MCU, Marvel's 2019 superhero film, Avengers Endgame. There are absolutely no spoilers in this review. I don't talk about anything that happens or anybody involved with those things that happen. As a result, this review is pretty vague, but I wanted to ensure everybody gets to have the same unspoiled experience as I did. I plan to post a spoiler review in a few days where I'll talk about specifics, but this review is spoiler-free, so please keep the comments spoiler-free as well. Avengers Endgame stars Robert Downy Jr., Chris Evans, and far too many other MCU regulars to mention here, and was once again directed by Anthony and Joe Russo. Endgame is the continuation of last year's Avengers Infinity War, picking up after the conclusion of that film with our heroes determining how to deal with the consequences of Thanos' actions. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say about the plot, I promise. After 11 years and 22 films, we've finally reached the conclusion of this story. Never before in cinematic history have we ever been taken on such a long and involved interconnected journey. And this was it, the culmination of it all, the final chapter in the Infinity Saga that began with Iron Man more than a decade ago. I was there then, and I'm still here now. And I'm still amazed by the sheer scope and amount of planning that went into making this franchise what it was. That in itself is something truly amazing and special to have been part of as a fan. Avengers Endgame is an emotional roller coaster. I know that's the epitome of a cliche when talking about a movie, but this is one of those times when the phrase is actually warranted. Over the course of 3 hours, we ride this roller coaster. Ups that excite and thrill us, downs that twist our stomachs into knots and almost make us wish we hadn't gone on at all, sudden unexpected turns that slam us into the side of the coaster, leaving emotional bruises that will take a really long time to heal, and loops that make us hold our breath, both anxious and excited at the same time. And after that long, twisty ride, we finally pull back into the station and come to a stop at long last. Satisfied, happy, sad, excited, and emotionally exhausted, all at the same time. The only thing we're missing is that $10 picture of ourselves after we walk out of the theater. This is an incredibly difficult film to talk about without spoilers, because it's full of huge MCU-altering moments, and even the smaller moments all work towards building up to those huge ones. So I apologize for the vagueness and broad generalizations here, but it's really the only way to talk about the movie without giving anything away. And trust me, if you're a fan of the MCU, if you've grown to care about these characters over the last decade, you don't want this spoiled. The marketing team did a great job of keeping things vague and spoiler-free, but now that the movie's out there, spoilers are everywhere. If you haven't seen this yet, I'd recommend that you forego social media until you do, and definitely stay out of comment sections. Some people are spoiling intentionally, but others are just so excited that they don't even realize they're doing it. And so, if you're a fan of this franchise, avoid spoilers at all costs. The roller coaster might still be entertaining if somebody told you how many drops and loops there were, but you only have one chance to experience it for the first time without any prior knowledge. And trust me, Endgame is one of those movies you want that experience. Endgame is also a film that's heightened by its audience involvement. I've been a fan of the MCU since Iron Man, but I've never considered myself a die-hard MCU superfan. I know there are people that live and breathe these movies, so I'd never be arrogant enough to put myself in quite their category, but I enjoy the movies a lot. That being said, they never elicit major reactions from me at the theater. But there were moments during this movie that I was smiling and had this surge of excitement welling up, and other moments where I was tearing up. A big part of that was definitely the movie itself, which was crafted as by far the most emotional MCU movie we've ever had, but another part was the crowd I was with. I saw it at a sold-out Saturday night showing, and people were incredibly involved and invested in the movie. People laughed. People cheered and clapped multiple times. They gasped and groaned, and they cried. a lot. And I don't know about you, but a crowd erupting into cheers always gets me a little more excited, and a room full of people sniffling and sobbing always makes me tear up a bit more too. I'm not a big crowded theater person, but I'm so glad I saw this one at a sold out show opening weekend. If you're planning on seeing this, even if you're not a huge fan of the MCU, go see it as soon as you can with a big crowd. I think the movie will lose a little something if you don't have that experience. I know there was a lot of talk and incredulity about the 3 hour runtime, but for me at least, it didn't feel that long. The movie does enough different things that it kind of makes the story feel like it's broken up into smaller, more manageable chunks. And the runtime isn't gratuitous. There were a few things here and there that probably could have been shortened or cut, but there was so much to tell and so many character arcs to explore that the movie really needed all of those 3 hours. Endgame is a really good companion piece to Infinity War, but it's not just more of the same. The filmmakers take some risks here and really subvert expectations with a couple key points. A few of the things I had predicted during my post-Infinity War postulation actually occurred, but so many things happened that I never would have thought. Even the things that I got right came about in ways that I didn't expect. So I have a feeling this film is gonna surprise a lot of people, even if you've been mentally preparing for the last year. It's sad that this chapter of the MCU has to come to an end, but it had to at some point. Endgame is just about the perfect end to that chapter. It's not a perfect movie, and it's not even my favorite from the MCU, but it's the movie that we needed to conclude this story. It has all the hallmarks of a great MCU film. The exciting action set pieces, the humor and banter, the characters that we've grown to love, with varying amounts of screen time here. It has the fan service moments that you know you want, but it also has the heartbreaking moments that you're dreading. And all of those moments combine to create a fitting and satisfying end to the story we've been watching for the last 11 years. If you even remotely care about the story or any of the characters in it, you need to go see this movie. Maybe it'll be your ultimate superhero movie, and maybe it won't, but you've only got one shot to ride this roller coaster, and you need to take it. Okay, let's extremely vaguely talk about the pros and cons. Pro number one is the scope of this film. The Marvel Cinematic Universe truly is something marvelous. Taking 11 years and 22 movies to tell one grand story sounds insane, but they managed to pull it off. Culmination is probably a word everybody's sick of hearing at this point, but that's exactly what Endgame is, a culmination. It ties together all the stories and characters we've been following for a decade and gives us everything we wanted while staying true to the story and tone. The second pro is the fact that Endgame is a fitting conclusion. Just based on announced films, we know the MCU isn't over, but this Infinity Saga certainly is. It's bittersweet to finally reach this moment, but this is a satisfying and fulfilling end to our decade-long journey with this group of characters. Pro number three has gotta be the character arcs. I'm not going to tell you who I'm talking about or what goes on with them, but there are several characters that have very satisfying arcs over the course of this film. You wouldn't expect a big finale movie like this to feature character development and growth, especially since we've come to know these characters over the years, but it does. On the con side, the biggest issue I have with this film is a holdover from my issues with Infinity War. It's entirely dependent on the 21 films that came before it. You need these other movies to know who the dozens of characters are, as well as to understand all the things they've experienced in the past. So this movie could be incredibly confusing to somebody who's new to the MCU. But if you're already a fan and have seen all the other movies, Endgame is exactly what you want and need. The second con is the portrayal of certain characters. Some have great arcs, others get very little screen time due to the sheer number of characters in this film, but there were two characters in this movie that disappointed me some. I know many people will like their portrayals, but they both let me down a bit. They weren't terrible, but weren't what I wanted to see in this movie. I'm gonna give Avengers Endgame 4 out of 5 paws. It's not my favorite MCU movie, but this offers us something more than any single movie could on its own. You really can't judge this film as a singular story. I mean, you can, and it has great parts and not so great parts, but It's interrelatedness that makes this film so satisfying. Without the build-up from the other movies, Endgame wouldn't have the impact that it does, and it's that impact that really elevates this film. I would recommend Avengers Endgame to fans of the MCU. Obvious, I know, but this is the conclusion of something special. Whether you've been watching the films over the last 11 years, or you came in and caught up somewhere along the line, this is a movie you need to see. No franchise has ever been this expansive and involved, and it's unlikely that we'll see anything of this scale again anytime soon. I know it sounds overdramatic, but this is cinematic history, and you need to be a part of it. I usually recommend a few films if you liked the movie I've reviewed, but I'll save those for the spoiler review to ensure I don't give away anything by association. Alright, a couple questions for you guys. Just a reminder, please keep your comments completely spoiler-free here, otherwise I'll have to delete them. Number 1, are you gonna see Avengers Endgame? When? And number 2, what are you most hoping to see in this movie? Be sure to leave your answers in the comments below so we can get a discussion going. Alright, so if you got some enjoyment, insight, or information out of this review, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please hit subscribe while you're at it so you can see more videos like this. Till next time, this has been Alyssa with Mainly Movies, the way life should be.